So we have some updates for Lunar Remastered Collection. We have a release date and also whether or not there's going to be a physical release for this. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now if you're not familiar with this collection, it's going to be two JRPG classics. First we have Lunar Star Story Complete, which was originally released for the Saturn and the PlayStation. However, that Saturn version was only released in Japan. And Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete, which was released on the Sega CD, again on the Saturn, just in Japan, and the PlayStation. Now first we have the release date here. You can see from Gung Ho Online's website that's going to be coming out on April 18th of this year. And as announced before, there will be a PS4, a Switch, a Steam, and an Xbox One version. And of course you can play that PS4 and Xbox One versions through backward compatibility on newer systems. And whenever the Switch 2 finally gets released, you'll be able to play that through backward compatibility as well. And now you're probably wondering, will there be a physical release for this collection? Well, the answer is yes, but let's take a look at a post over on X from Clear River Games. Fans of classic JRPGs look no further. We've teamed up with Gung Ho America to bring Lunar Remastered Collection to PS4 and Switch physical on April 18th in Europe. Dive into the enchanting worlds of Lunar Star Story Complete and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete, two beloved JRPGs that have captured the hearts of gamers for generations. So we can see here that Clear River Games will be releasing a physical version in Europe. But if you're like me and in North America, you're probably wondering where your physical version is going to be at. Well, we have the answer to that from a press release from Gung Ho America, as well as the price. Digital editions will be available for $49.99 US and $49.99 Euro, while physical editions offer an alternative for the collectors. So in North America, physical editions will be available exclusively through Amazon for $54.99 US. A purchase link will be shared soon. And then they go on to mention the version in Europe that we've already talked about. So it looks like for $5 more, you can pick up a physical edition of this game, but it'll only be available on Amazon. Now, as soon as I see that come up, I will post a link to that over on my account on X, so give me a follow there if you're interested. And I'll also try to drop it in the description to the video, so if you're seeing this sometime later after this video goes up, check the description and see if there's a link where you can pre-order this game physically if you're interested. Now, the physical edition will feature reversible covers showcasing two key arts for Lunar Star Story Complete and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete, both illustrated exclusively for Lunar Remastered Collection by Toshiyuki Kobauka, who is the original character designer and animation director for both games. So I can't wait to see how this turns out. Now, as of right now, it doesn't look like we'll be getting any kind of collector's edition, so there'll be no extras to go along with this. But since this is not coming out until mid-April, there's always a possibility we might get some kind of announcement in the future. Now we have a little more information about what the features are in this remastered collection, and again, this is from their press release. First, you have the strategic turn-based actions. Play through two magical worlds in Lunar Star Story Complete and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete, as you fight it out in turn-based combat style where each character's speed, distance, position, and attack range must all be accounted for. Next, we have powerful voices and captivating animated sequences. Immerse yourself in battles with fully voiced attacks and incantations in either Japanese or an all-new English voiceover by playable characters and enemies. We'll get to that in just a minute. Not to mention the stylistic animated sequences that still capture the hearts of players today. And next we have Relive the Classic or Go Remastered. Choose between Classic or Remastered mode, an option that allows fans to travel back in time to the game's PlayStation 1 releases or see them in a new light with widescreen support, revamped PS1 pixel art, and high-definition animated cutscenes. So it looks like this gives you an option to sort of play the game how it was graphically on the PlayStation 1. And I'm glad we have that option, although I've heard the Saturn version was a little bit better graphically, although it never got released in North America. And then next we have 2 new language options. Lunar Remastered Collection not only includes Japanese and English subtitles and sound, but also 2 new subtitle language options, French and German. Now there's no mention here as to whether or not you can do the Japanese audio with maybe the English subtitles, but I hope you can do it that way. It would make sense that you could. And then finally we have Speed Up Battle plus improved strategy settings. Save time and speed up through battles with the flip of a switch. Additionally, new options have been added to the original strategy settings for streamlined combat. I always like it with these turn-based RPGs when you've got a chance to kind of speed up the combat, especially if you're just kind of hitting fight over and over again. This might kind of speed that process up. Now there's no mention here as to whether or not you can speed up the game outside of battles. I kind of hope that's an option so you can kind of walk around a little quicker. Now for those of you who may be familiar with this series, you may be wondering if the remasters would use the classic Working Designs translation and voice acting. Well, we'll start with the voice acting. It obviously looks like that's not going to be an option. In fact, the announcement here makes it clear that they have all new English voiceover. So that's pretty clearly ruled out. However, the translation's a little more vague. The translation was done by Working Designs, which is no longer in existence. However, the rights to those seem to belong to its former president. We have an article here from Games Radar back in September when this collection was first announced, and it says, "The Working Designs translation was the translation of the original Lunar games, and after the company shut down in the 00s, the rights to that localization appeared to wind up with the former president, Victor Ireland. Pretty much all we know about Ireland's stewardship of those rights come from rumors and a few posts he made on an old gaming forums before he largely disappeared from the public eye. So it appears that the former president of the now defunct Working Designs holds the rights to those translations. However, again, that doesn't seem to be very clear cut. So back in December, there was an interview with the YouTube channel Zofar, and this was with Jenny Stiegel, who's the voice actress and singer who worked on both games. And she kind of questioned what actually could be used. And we have that transcribed here by Time Extension. She said, "According to Victor, he owns the rights to all of that. I could say a whole lot about that. I'm sober though. Maybe if there are any detectives in here, they could truly determine whether or not he actually owns those rights. That's all I'll say. Maybe I'll just put it in some heads that does he indeed own those rights? The last thing I want is trouble." So after this statement made the rounds, Victor released a statement. Whatever Jenny's opinion or motive, there's a legal agreement with text in black and white that specifically excludes the rights to the performances from the sale of Lunar localization. Game Arts knows this, Gung Ho knows this, I know this. Those are the only parties that matter. As I said in my interview, I'm open to helping Gung Ho get the original performances in the remaster so the fans get the remastered version they have wanted for decades instead of another Harmony effort. And I believe that's referring to Silver Star Harmony, which kind of had a lackluster translation, I believe for the PSP. So it sounds like to me he owns the rights to the performances and not necessarily the script. So it may be though that Gung Ho just wants to go ahead with a new translation. Working Designs was kind of known to take some liberties with the translation and insert some of their own pop culture references. And that's a lot of times something that people today might not make the connection with. Now if I do find out anything about the translation, I'll post a comment below and pin it, so make sure to check that out. Now when the original trailer came out, it did seem that the song that was shown there seemed to match the version that Working Designs did. Obviously with a new singer, but the lyrics seem to match, at least from what I've read. Now if you happen to know more about this game and that translation, drop a comment below and let us all know. And I know songs are one of those things that a lot of times when they're translated into English from Japanese, they have to change quite a bit, because a direct translation doesn't really fit with the timing of the music. So it seems like they, at the very least, may be using part of that original Working Designs translation. But let me know your thoughts below. This is definitely a pre-order physical edition for me. Just paying $5 more for that physical release seems like a pretty good deal to me. And let me know your thoughts about the translation. Did you like the original Working Designs translation? Are you going to be okay with one that might be more true to the Japanese? And if you played both of these games before, which one's your favorite? Drop your comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. It really does help out a lot. I'm pretty close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. At that point, I can get into the next tier of YouTube's partnership. So if you could help out with that, I'd really appreciate it. I want to thank you for watching and be good.